So in this video, we're back onto this car here. I finally got that box there with all the other parts that I need. So I'm going to start jumping into this, start getting it all assembled. Don't know how far we'll get. Hopefully it's all put back together, but it's Friday today. It's Anzac Day. I don't have the bolts for the starter motor yet, so I'm going to have to work around it somehow. Anyway, enjoy it. So this has turned out perfect. This is what Dave sent me. As I've said before, what a truly good dude. I have a brake pedal because the automatic one is obviously a lot wider. He sent me a whole new clutch pedal and there it is. Needed this pin here. So that's brilliant. As I was saying in the last video about this car, the reservoir on the Brake Master, they share the same reservoir. So this one here, I just need to swap it out because we can run that line to the clutch master. Yes, and he sent me that as well. So I got a new one of these, and this here was the hard line I was talking about. So I don't need to make one now. He's provided that, so what a man. Also got the slave pin in there. What else was there? And who does that? Send the bolts to. What a legend. Anyway, I'm going to start jumping into this. I'll probably run this, get this all sorted out. And once that's done, I'll see if I need to switch the reservoir out or can I put the manifold back on. We'll get back to you. So what I'm doing first is I'm just going to install this clutch arm hardline. I don't need the master. I've already got one in there. So what I'll do is I'll just undo the line from here. We'll plug it into the other one, and this being a factory line, it should just locate to its happy place. I think there's a bracket that bolts there onto the firewall, and then we're going to have the hard task of bolting the slave to the top of the gearbox, which is in the tunnel, which is going to be a dog. Anyway. I'm not going to lie, there was no fun in that. So I struggled, but there you go. So we've got the hard line coming from the master all the way along, goes to this bracket. Now remember, I did say in a previous video I was going to make one, but Dave, you're the man, saved me that hassle. That was the easy part. Getting the, you can't even see it, getting the slave on behind this filter was a joke, and there's a bracket on the side of the engine that holds the bottom half of the clutch line. That was a mission too. So it's done. So I'm going to call it quits for tonight, and probably tomorrow when I drain this, get the other reservoir on, hook it up to there, and I'll change the clutch pedal. I need to bleed the clutch because the nipple is just in behind this oil filter, and once the intake's on, you're not going to get to that, or you will, but it won't be fun. So I'll sort all that out, and both pedals, the pin into the clutch master, bleed it, throw the top on, upper manifold will be all squared away, and then we've got the fun time of trying to figure out the wiring to run this thing. Okay, so next day on this car, what I'm doing now is the pedals. So I'm going to leave the clutch pedal in. I'm just going to take the little, where are you? The little pin off of it. I'm just going to take that little pin off there, and I'll put it onto the other pedal. But then I need to take the brake pedal out, sort that out, sort that reservoir, bleed it all up. I don't know how far I'll go with the brakes, but I just need to bleed that clutch up. And once I can sort that out, the upper manifold can go back on, and then, well, yeah. Well, then we get to that point. I don't know. I'm going to have to study up on what all these do and where they go. Yeah, and once I figure that out, I'll get some bolts, hopefully. I don't know if I've got any. I'll try and find some bolts for that starter motor, and then we're going to try and turn it. Fun. So I'm not gonna lie, this has been an absolute mission. Here is the brake pedal that just took me an hour and a half to get out. One of these fixings up here is stripped, so what an absolute nightmare. But she's out, so now I've got to put this one in. So just looking at the differences, this has some out of it contraption that goes to here. Brackets are slightly different, where all we've got on this one is just this, and I'm pretty sure that's just for your stoplights. I don't know, something like that. But we are going to go ahead and put this one back in. But everything about this is just a nightmare. I don't know how you're supposed to actually get up and behind there unless you can actually bend your arm in 20 different angles. But she's slow going. I still need to put the clip on the pin in the clutch pedal there. That's just an absolute nightmare to reach as well. So, yay. Okay, so got the pedals done, finally. So what I need to look at now is this here. So I've just noticed that with this one, it's got a type of, I don't know, some sort of clip there to hold on to something. But on this one, where is it? Right there, it's actually a roll pin. So it is a bit different, but I am going to drain that now anyway, get that roll pin out, take that off, and then we'll try and fit this one, which, yeah, has that line to go to the clutch master. Okay, so managed to get it on there. It's fairly solid, but it's not ideal. That roll pin hasn't come all the way through. I've got it through on the other side, but it's just not right. I don't know why they'd have different master cylinders. Maybe it's the auto manual thing, I don't know. But anyway, we have our line hooked up now, back to the clutch master. So I'm gonna put some fluid in this, make sure it doesn't leak out of here anywhere. And then what am I gonna do after that? We're gonna try and bleed this clutch, see if it bleeds up. And if that does, then I've got a few plugs I need to hook in down there. Then I'm gonna throw the manifold, top half of the manifold on, and then we are really, really close. I still need to research what all that other stuff does, but engine-wise, it should be 98% finished. As I said, a few little issues, and then hopefully before the week's out, we can try and fire it up. So after a few more hours, we finally have a clutch pedal. What an absolute mission. So what happened is the master cylinder needed to be bled, and it was being a dog. But clutch is bled, everything seems to be fine. It's holding oil, it's holding pressure. So I need to plug up the O2 sensor in the exhaust. There's a little plug on the back of the bell housing for that. Need to plug that in, and then I'm going to slap that upper intake on and probably call it quits. I still have a mountain load of other things to do as well, like finish off the tank for the Rx8. Fits, it's nice. Do that, and then I've got club car stuff to do. Yeah, quite a bit. So I'll get this upper intake in, and then probably hold fire until I get those bolts, and then fire it up, as I said, later on in the week. Okay, so back into this Rx8. It's currently Monday, and we need to get it done by the weekend. So I have got the starter motor bolted in now, but next problem is the old starter motor wiring is too short, because automatic starter motor sits on the back of the engine facing towards the front of the car, where the new one is reversed. So I need to add, I don't know, a couple 100 mil to the loom, but thankfully I do have leftover bits from my Rx8. So I've just cut this. We'll get ready to solder it up. And while I was going through that bin, I found manual transmission loom. Now I could have used the whole loom, which is down there, but it is for a 4-port, that one, this being a 6, and I've hacked the living shit out of that one. So what I need to do is do the starter motor wiring, and then see if we can actually color code these wires to the automatic loom. Hopefully we can. Okay, I'll get into it. Ended. So what I'm going to do now is just feed this back down through there. We'll plug it up, and then I have oil, I have coolant to put in, and also those two control boxes that are in here. So I've looked everywhere for what these are for, and it looks like I don't actually need them. When it comes to the brake pedal there is a cable from the automatic one that will actually lock you out from pulling your key out unless it's in park or neutral. So we need to disconnect that. I think that's what the cable was that ran around to the gear stick position, but we'll disconnect it from there. I think we're pretty good to go, but yeah, I'll still keep looking, but apparently you don't need these. I was getting all excited there. I have run the wire to the starter solenoid, which is this light green and red wire here. Now that wire runs all the way back through, all the way up to the ignition barrel to, I believe it's a white and blue wire off the back. Oh, you can't see anything. Hang on. That's better. To the back of the key up here, back of the ignition barrel, there's a white and blue wire there. So that is running through there. Now, essentially that makes the ignition loop, but what has happened is, bear with me while I try and one-handle this key. Ignition turns on, fuel pump's running, but I've got nothing. So first off, I thought maybe it's the clutch pedal signal thing up there, but no, you don't necessarily need to run that. You can, and that just makes it so, like, back to stock, you have to push the pedal in to start the car. So running this wire, you don't need to do that. But I have just read up now that because the PCM is out of another car, it's not going to read that key. So sucks. It's the same story as why we had to change to ABS. I won't talk to it unless it's, you know, came out of the same car. So looks like I'm not going to be able to start this thing unless I can get it programmed to this key and all the rest of it. So all I can do now is just make sure that the starter is getting power to begin with, and then just tidy everything up, put it back together. Gearbox wiring, I haven't researched that yet, but I will. Okay, so I've just been messaging a tuner for these cars, and he reckons that because the key and the ECU are from different cars, the key does need to be reprogrammed, so we can't actually crank the car, which sucks. I could do what I did with my Rx8 and wire one of those push button switches in there and try and do that, but you kind of want to run the key. So it's just going to have to be reprogrammed. So I'm going to have to see if he is able to program it when he tunes this. But the bad part of that is I won't be able to start this car after it's fresh build. So it's not going to be fun to try and start it. Anyway, second problem, no one's touching the brake pedal. So I need to adjust that switch on the pedal, sort that out. I'm going to take a stab at doing this gearbox loom here. I don't know how well I will go with this, but yeah, I don't even think the colors match up to the other loom. So I may have to do a little bit of research, or you may just not have reverse lights. But we'll figure that one out. But besides that, spewing, absolutely spewing. But at least I can put it all back together. I could try and bump start it. We'll see. I still need to put oil, coolant. I need to top up the gearbox oil. I need to do all that sort of stuff. But I think she'll be ready to go home this weekend without hearing it start. Done. Looking at this gearbox loom, just chopping bits of my one up and bits of this one up. I've just gone and put the car into reverse. The ignition is on and sick. So we have reverse lights. So I don't know what the other plugs are for at this point in time. I don't really care. Reverse lights is all I was after. So I'm going to go clean up that loom, and then what do I need to do? I'm currently talking with Mazda to see if they can reprogram this key. Yeah, what a pain. But I'm going to bleed the brakes, clean up all underneath the car, and then I think she can come back down to the ground and start topping some fluids up. Oh, gearbox oil, gotta put that in. So here it is, it's all done, fluids are done, brakes are done, everything is done, everything's tidied up, all the wires are plugged in, everything is going where it needs to go, all bolts tight, so only problem is can't start it. But I have been talking to Mazda and we can program it through them. The only problem I have is getting it there, but besides that, we should be good to go. If I can get the key programmed in the next day or two, then we can try and start it and then listen to it run for this first time. Hopefully it's got a little bit of a pulse to it. I've found that 6 ports don't. They just don't like to pulse, where a 4-port Bridgeport will just pulse all day. 6 ports, different story. Don't know why, but hopefully this has got something. It still needs to be tuned, so I don't know how well it will run, but we just got to try and start it first. Have been thinking about this quite a lot. Should have done my research right from the start. There's so much information out there regarding the power plant frame, regarding the key, all of it. So maybe I should have done that before I started, and it would save myself a lot of work. Plenty of people have been helping me, pointing me in the right direction. Dave, with all these parts, top bloke. I can't thank him enough. He's fully got me out of the shit with this one. So yeah, I would do another one, but probably not for a little while. It's a lot of work. Anyway, so we will square this away in the next couple of days, and then it can go home, and then I can bring the club car in here next week, and then I need to fully get stuck into that before the cruise on the 17th of May. So if you made this far in my video, thank you for watching. It's a long one. It's about an Rx8. Not many people like them, but some people do. Anyway, cheers.